for the business owner or leader who feels like they are constantly battling alone, but wishes that they had more courage to truly walk their own path. If you're navigating those lonely decisions, this conversation will give you the different kind of strength. Welcome back to the Champion Mindset Collective. I'm your host, Anthony Dahya. I'm really looking forward to this conversation today. Our guest is someone who has truly lived through extreme environments and emerged with profound insights about resilience, truth, and what it really means to find your own way, even when it feels like no one else is beside you. Mario Bekes is a war veteran, an investigator, Guinness World Record holder, a boxer, and a storyteller known for exposing deception. He holds the Guinness World Record for the longest audio broadcast achieved in 2023. Mario has dedicated his life to uncovering truth through human intelligence, with 1,800 consecutive combat days in war and extensive experience in military intelligence and diplomatic security. He embodies resilience, and in his background, he gives us a unique authority and credibility in navigating extreme adversity and rebuilding after loss. He has witnessed psychological battles of war and the mental fortitude required to survive the impossible. This experience informs everything he does, from business to podcasting and writing. His podcast, Life the Battlefield, shares intimate interviews with individuals who have overcome great hardships. Mario is also the author of 2 influential books, Blood-Soaked Soil and Corporate and Workplace Investigations. He is the founder and managing director of Insight Intelligence Group, specializing in corporate investigations, human intelligence solutions, and strategic risk management. Mario believes that lived experience over theory, and his journey proves that no obstacle is insurmountable. Mario, welcome to the Champion Mindset Collective.
Anthony, thank you very much for having me again on your podcast. And I just want to say to everybody who is listening, watching now, big congratulations to Anthony for building this podcast and for giving the platform for people like me and any business owner to speak, to share the experience. So Anthony, thank you. And to all your listeners, hello as well.
Thank you, Mario. It's a privilege to have you here. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while now. And we've got to have these conversations more often.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Look, it's just I'm seeing I'm observing what are you doing on the LinkedIn and your post, and I said to myself, oh my God, this man, he's gone, from left to right. You know what I mean? From analog to AI. You skip it digital. Like AI, it's now, and I'm glad I know you because it's like you really mastered AI and doing very good things with applying AI.
Yeah. And I'd love to have more conversations around what you do in terms of intelligence and AI at some later point as well. But today, start with us with telling your journey in life. Take us through your childhood and how you got here. How did you get here?
Look, I wish I say, whenever I see some public speakers from the United States, everybody tries to talk about, they run from communism, they escaped their communism. I was a child of communism. I was born in communist Yugoslavia. I knew nothing better. My parents were typical communist product, just factory workers, and all they knew it was complaining about, everything and anything. So imagine my dad, 4 o'clock in the morning, he will take a small transistor, a small radio, and go into the bathroom to listen to the Voice of America. Then they will tell me, don't tell nobody I'm listening to this. It's like what he's doing in the bathroom, because nobody can go in the bathroom 5 o'clock in the morning. So he was a big communist during the day, but a little rebel, between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. listening to Voice of America. So I grew up in an environment, you don't know nothing better. You have big dreams, and the dreams were forbidden. Can you imagine? Like today, everybody says use imagination and visualize. So I always imagined that I'm going to be something special. My father was told me nothing. And, I end up in juvie as age 12 because I stabbed the main screwdriver twice. Then life didn't go the way I wanted in my dreams. But I always say to people, be careful what you wish for, because my grandfather becomes my guardian, and my grandfather was high-ranking Yugoslavian intelligence official. So he sent me military school despite all odds. And 1991, the Civil War broke out, as you know, in Yugoslavia. And I had now I was at a crossroads. Should I fight for the government and country I was born, Yugoslavia, or my native country, which was Croatia? And Croatia was a part of Yugoslavia as a republic. Of course, it's prevailed to fight for my country, democracy, freedom, all these things. But the major factor played a role was that the morning when the war started, my parents, they ran away night before, literally they left a message on the kitchen table, we are okay. And I find out this in the most grotesque way because military police was on the door. They tried to bring me in army barracks and I'm seeing the message my mom and dad wrote, we are okay. I said, what does that mean we are okay? Like, I'm 18 years old. Where are you guys? So I joined the Special Forces of Ministry of Interior first and built my career through the military, first to Ministry of Interior Police. That was the first armed force. Then 92, I was transferred to the Defense Force, a special unit of the Presidential Guard. And this was going on till the moment the war ended up and I was transferred. I'll call this Military Security Intelligence Apparatus. Somehow, 98, I was on a plane to Australia. That's a second part of the story.
Yeah. Wow. We covered a lot of this in, I think, the last episode we did together, which was, gosh, it was a long time ago. Spending 1,800 days in war, what was it like? What was your mindset like at the time?
I didn't know nothing better. I was 18 years old. Like, just compare now with my son. My son is a 23, and I'm looking at him. He's like, God, I can't believe it. I was 23 years old. I was ready, platoon leader, the company assistant officer. And like, I can't even explain, Anthony, because when you are 18 years old, you think the war is going to last 3 days. I want to be Rambo. I started war in 14th of June, 1991. By end of November, I was still in the summer uniform. I was depressed. I was ready being semi-alcoholic. All I knew it was action, 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 action. And I mean, there was many moments when I said to myself, can't do this anymore because, you know, it's 6 months. It's a long time to be involved without break, non-stop. But there's always that dream, you know, it's going to be over soon. It's going to stop. And we're going to win. But we were losing badly that war. You know, I mean, by November 91, we lost almost 1/3 of country. And when I saw that many men actually escaped, and I mean, all these alpha males, the killers, all these sons of politicians, the upper class, only lower class stayed. I said to myself, okay, I think next day is going to be my last day. It was always that one. So I fought to survive another day, another day, another day, another day. And I become more resilient every moment. That was for me. And then lucky and fortunate for all of us, 15th of January, Croatia was independence, was being recognized worldwide. And a few months later, we had the UN forces coming and there was like a status quo and everything was frozen, battle lines and everything else. But as much as you think it's over, the war broke out in Bosnia. So my unit was shipped in Bosnia to help people over there to defend. So it was constant, you know what I mean? So I grew up believing that this is my destiny and I'm giving the best I can do to protect people I supposed to protect.
And would you say that experience and all the other experiences growing up, you talked about resilience, which is very important, and resilience is built over time. But do you feel that experience has actually set you up for what you're doing today?
If you asked me this question 10 years ago when I was still fighting my way up in the business, I was still like, oh, I hated this, hated that. But now from this distance, when I'm 54 in September this year, I truly believe that everything was happening in our life. Either it's a lesson or we're going to fail lecture because whatever I was going through, I didn't know what's going to happen in the future. I have a different plans in my life. But whatever happened to me in the past, it helped me a lot in my life now. So yes, whatever happened to me then, I think that those lessons, even I failed a few times in my life, many lessons, I think that helped me to become the man who I am today. And I can as well share that experience, that knowledge and expertise to other people who are needed more than me now. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that happens for us and it shapes us into who we are. It's a lesson. And one thing to remember that every mistake is actually a mistake. So when you make a movie, you have a lot of mistakes, but eventually you get the right take and you make the $1 million move. I agree with you that, you know, everything all those experiences set you up for who you're being today. Now, Mario, your background is truly unique. From war zone to investigations, and now walking the Camino Primitivo alone. Can you take us back to what compelled you to first choose that path that so few would take, and one that would involve so much personal risk and adversity?
I will start from the end straight away. Once when I finished at Camino, I realized one thing, that I could spend entire my life hiding myself behind all my life lessons, successes and failures, and live comfortably. I was in the war, I'm the Guinness World Record champion. Mino stripped from me everything, Anthony, everything I know about myself. And I will not exaggerate when I say that Camino was the best thing happened to me ever. Last year I was in Thailand with a couple of my buddies, and they start talking about Camino, Camino, Camino. I'm like, come on, Camino, pilgrimage. In Croatia, it's a Roman Catholic country, and I couldn't handle these people who do the pilgrimage, because we saw them differently in Croatia. Like that's usually people who are in a church and they don't do nothing, are fighting the wars, the people in church, praying, and that they're close to the power, I will say, I mean. And this is people who don't feel the hardship. So idea was last year was sort of like a seed was being sown about Camino. I said, come on, Camino, Camino. 4 weeks, 800 kilometers, like, come on, must be something shorter. It was the three of us at the beginning. We have idea that we're going to walk together. And planning started. However, ended up that two of us traveled together in Spain. And again, you see, it doesn't matter what we plan, Anthony. I done the maps, and so I choose the Primitivo. Why I choose Camino Primitivo? It's our original pilgrim. King Alfonso II was using that 1300 years ago to go in from Oviedo to Santiago de Compostela city, where the St. James Jesus Apostle was buried. And as you can imagine, Spain is a very, very Catholic country. And I mean, they're everything. And what I didn't know, it doesn't matter how much you read or research, it's that terrain. So first obstacle for me was to come in Spain. So originally we were supposed to travel Sydney, Doha, Madrid. But then somebody tried to liberate Iran, and everything was shut down. So the only way you can go via US or Canada. So can you imagine, like, Sydney, Vancouver, 16 hours, man, just like 16 hours there, 5 hours to Toronto, and then another 8 hours to Barcelona, then 1.5 hour to Oviedo. So by the time we reached the colleague reached Spain, Oviedo, I was ready to go home, because 46 hours on the plane just for enough, what I mean? So, I brought with me, desire to walk. So if you ask me then why I'm going there, I have no idea, Anthony. I know it's going to sound now a little bit naive. I heard a lot about Camino. So there's a couple major routes. One's called St. Francis, which goes from France over Pyrenees, and it's 800 kilometers long. It's a flat terrain. Mostly the Americans walking there, because it's a lot of villages and the cities on a path, so you can stay wherever you want. Very crowded. Then you have the Portuguese way, which is going from Lisbon and Portugal, the coast, and inside to the Santiago de Compostela. And my one, which is like least visited, it's rough. It's like an Avatar movie. It's just a mountain after mountain. So when I start walking, me and other colleague, we start working together. So he was on the third day, he's going with somebody else, and I continue my own. On the third day, I already got desire to go home, literally go home, because I was in pain. So it doesn't matter how much my backpack was 11 kilos, it was like 110 kilos. On the third day, I got very bad nail and toe infection. My toes become black. So it was not just climbing, going down, up and down, up and down. And all I had, for me, there was no map, there was no phone reception. There's nothing, just me. And you follow that yellow arrow and the yellow scallop shell, which was marked hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And then 1986, one of the priests revisited all these routes and start painting. But now the Spanish government make sure that everything is marked with the yellow arrows properly. So this has led me to the day number 3 when I was really in on my back foot, I would say, because I wanted to find the God. That was my reason. I, Mario Bekes, I will find the God. I will do this, and I'm like, please find me. You know what I mean? Like in this forest. So that was my major reason. You know what I mean? But that reason very quickly disappeared after first kilometer of the walking because I realized I walk into country I don't know language. Nobody speaks English. Culture. People are nice. They're very polite. They want to help you. They will give you everything. All my life, metaphorically, was in a backpack, and all I had was what I can bring with me into that walk. That is my stamina, my energy, my dedication. Or I can say to myself, okay, I tried, I'm going home now. And Anthony, I said to everybody, every day I find 200 reasons to give up. I couldn't care less anymore. Will I find a God or not? I just want to go home. But then I would just stand up and say, like, I'm gonna continue walking. So that was my major reason. I'm gonna find a God.
Isn't that interesting that you were trying to find God, but you wanted him to find you?
Because like in those mountain, when you're walking there, it's like it's much easier when you walk in a group of the people, which most of them they choose to do so. I booked accommodation for first 4 nights. They need to book and extra nights. Getting sort of like if you're arriving in some place in some small city or some small village, you need to come by a certain time, and then you need to, if you're lucky, there's a place or not, or you can do booking, which is a little bit more expensive, about 15 euros, 20 euros per night. And sometimes, you're sleeping, like reminding me of my days in the army, when you sleep in a room with the 40, 50 people, and in the morning somebody says, I slept so well. I said to myself, yes, you did, because you are the only one who was snoring. And while I was struggling to find, moment to sleep. Yeah, first 4 days, 3 days was a excruciating hell.
Now, having lived through all of these extreme environments that you've been in, like the childhood you wore and everything that you've gone through, adversity, and then also the Camino, which you've got a unique, perspective on what was true resilience means. For someone who perhaps is in a difficult situation right now or a personal challenge, what would you say to them in terms of how would you define resilience in a way that is grounded based on your experience?
I'll go back a little bit in a History Channel, 1991, when I went in the war. I was in the last century. Resilience, nobody can teach resilience. There's no class. There is no, me personally say this, right? There's no classroom. There's no coach or trainer who can teach you resilience. You can learn the theory about some topic or some piece of equipment. You can show me how AI works, and then you can supervise me how I can apply this. I think that's a crucial element to people forgetting. If you skip the theory of anything of in your life, practically you start applying practical way, you're gonna fail. So resilience is not something you can learn. For anybody now struggling, I realize again, if I put aside all my experience in the war, and as you mentioned before, I came to Australia in 98. I was working in Croatian Embassy in Canberra. I was a part of intelligence security services. That's that much I can say. It was a called then Directorate 7. Now it's called differently. Camino took it away everything what I know, and what actually gave me its opportunity now to I apply that resilience in real time. So I have no GPS signal. I can't call nobody for help. I need to treat myself, Food. Nobody can bring me the food. There's no hello Uber, bring me that mountain food. There's nothing like this. So whatever I have in my backpack. So I need to fill my backpack with necessities to survive 24 hours on my own. I need to learn my path. I need to learn the signs and everything else. So if you struggle in this very moment, I always say to people, stop, take a breath, and observe and listen where you're right now, because whatever is happening to you right now is not just going to show past, you're going to learn from this. So you're going to be prepared more. Any adversity, it's a uniquely opportunity to learn something, as long as it's not a life endangering process. So you can't learn resilience in a classroom. You need to get out and put yourself in the most daring situation, uncomfortable situations, little by little, not something like, let's go do survival. That shows Alone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Oh,
my
that's,
God. I
oh
saw in New
gosh,
Zealand, like I saw in New Zealand last season. I said to myself, I will never do this. Never. Camino, top, done. But
oh my
imagine being
gosh.
alone. That's what it is. You don't do that extreme. Take a hike, while by yourself on a beach, walk in one direction 5 hours and come back over 3 hours. Start building that resilience in a way where you know that you can't easily reach commodities and luxuries you have access on daily basis. Little by
Yeah.
little. Yeah.
Resilience is built over time. It's like a tree that gets withered by the weather, the storms, but it's still there. And it takes, trees are there for hundreds of years. And, but yeah, look, watching The Alone, my goodness, I think the Tasmania one that we watched was just like,
Look, as I said, like, you don't do that thing. I'll never do this thing. You know what I mean? Camino was not even close to this, but feel myself. If you really want to test how resilient you are, do little things, take a little commodities and luxuries out of your life on your own to understand what resilience truly is, because you can't learn if you're not in situation. And when you come find yourself in any situation in your life, try to apply what you know and learn the lesson from this very moment.
yeah. And while you were in Camino, like, when you were going through all of that, all of those challenges that you went through,
Yes.
like, what was your mindset like? What was going through your mind at the time?
I could be somebody who on this podcast tell you the things people like to hear it. I was
No,
afraid. I was
we
afraid.
wanna we
I
wanna
was
hear
afraid. I
yeah,
was
the deep.
afraid. I was afraid. I was afraid. I was afraid. I was very, very lonely. I felt lost, not physically. I knew it. I can follow the signs, all these things. I felt, you question your own integrity, who you are. And that's the worst thing it is, because my brain was spinning around. I'll tell you something. On my fifth day, I was going to this place called Pola di Alande. One of the shortest routes that day was 14 kilometers, but you're going from top of the mountain down. My last couple of kilometers I walk in socks because pain in my feet was unbearable. And I have another guy, I met him. He was on his back. I tried to help him. He says, I can't move anymore. And I walk into that Pola di Alande. Some old lady, Anthony, saw me and I was crying. Look at me. I'm 53 years old, man. I was just like so much pain. I saw the blood come through my socks. She sat me on the side. She called the doctor. Doctor spoke a little bit English. And she says to me, you can't walk anymore. They call us peregrinos there. I said, no, I need to walk. So we managed, to give me some antibiotics. And she had the concerns, will I be able to continue because my boots, it's constrained me because my feet are swollen. I said, I have old people shoes, Skechers in my backpack as well. So I managed that day to be in the pain. And my mindset was not I gonna win, I gonna walk. But I said, I told myself, Mario, you chose this and you need to lead by example yourself now. Giving up, it's easy. And I could give up, there was a valid reason. But I told myself simultaneously, you made a choice, Sakura Princess, apply everything what you know. At the end of the day, it's only 9 days left. Yeah. Some of these was like, and yeah, I was afraid. So I'm not BS you to, your listeners or viewers and say I was brave, I was this and that. I was afraid. I ran into wolves 2 days later, which was for me was even more profound moment because I was thinking I'm going to be eaten by wolves. I mean, I was just it was 100 meters of me, like 2 of them, 3 of them. I was like, God, come on, really, give me something nice. You know what I mean? So I was at one spot, I was standing and they just hop, hop, hop. They go on the mountain. And I ran into some Norwegian people behind me. They said, we saw you and we saw the wolves there on the rocks. I said, why didn't you help me? They said well, we're afraid. That's what do you think? I'm the brave? The wolves, I mean, where are going to run? You know what I mean? But I'm obviously the fattest guy, so I'm going to be eaten. So yes, I was afraid. I was seeking the fate. I tried to apply everything what I learned, every single skill, and I brought every experience from my life in military, in intelligence, in daily life. And I said to myself, either I will do or die. There is no something else. And that was my mission. But my mind was my biggest enemy.
Mm. And your mind tells you lies as well, doesn't it? Yeah.
Tell you the many truths, actually, posted on my vlogs because, again, let's go that show alone. The only connection with the reality is that camera, right? Which nobody see it except you. And I was talking to myself, but Anthony, what? I got the answers on the questions I never asked. I saw myself in a way I never think I'm going to see myself. So like when I was talking to myself, because you have nobody to impress except yourself. And the struggle was real because I had nothing what I haven't seen in coffee, talking to you, the phone, no reception. And all that I'd had was, let's say, my mind, and it was very noisy. Like first couple of days, 5-6 days was, oh my, just, you can't numb this, you know what I mean? Because he talks to you. You are covered. You can't do it. You think you're something special. I'm like, who is talking to me? Like, is a God? Are you there somewhere? So, yeah. So that's the truth. No, I was the bravest guy, but I'll tell you, I was the most afraid person who knew it. He will survive if listen the intuition and the sense.
You were broken. You were the broken state and you had to build yourself back up together, and your identity would have changed as well, right?
Yes.
You would have seen yourself in a totally different light after that.
Yeah. The one thing I tell you, when I come at the finish line, I remember my last 5 kilometers was the most disastrous. I just want to give up. And I saw, Anthony, the roofs of the buildings, homes, and cathedral in Santiago de Compostela, 5 kilometers. It's like on a little hill. You can see the city is down in a valley. I couldn't do anymore. And then one thing happened to me very, very interesting. I started walking, and by that stage, I lost about 10 kilos in 13 days because the food was another thing. What you have with you, that's what you eat, and the water, which teaches you humility. You know what I mean? And then you need to prepare yourself that there's nobody there, 7-Eleven, you will grab the water in the mountain, whatever it is. So I was having sometimes in this called the albergues, it's like a hostels, you know what I mean? So you stay there with a group of other people, you meet people, you talk to them. I was in my bunk bed by 9 o'clock and I said to myself, God, please don't let nobody comes anymore asking for the bed above me because I'll take the pillow and the quilt because it was so cold during the night. During the day was hot, during nights and morning cold. So when I walk into Santiago de Compostela, something happened to me I never imagined could. You and I, Anthony, we love to somebody praise us. I love it. I said, Mario Bekes loves. I like to somebody says to me, I'm proud of you. I want somebody say to me, Mario, you're the good guy or you're the most sexiest guys, which, okay, science fiction, okay. But thing it is, when I walk in Santiago de Compostela, there was nobody there for me. There's no applause. There's no tapping on the shoulder. Nobody, just you. And that's the end. And then I sat there on a ground with hundreds of other pilgrims. Many of them, they're crying, they're hugging. Some people go in tantrum because they need to leave somebody or something, they fall in love. But something happened to me. I said to myself, I come to this situation after 13 days. I need to congratulate myself. And I think that's the most profound moment in my life that I need to say to myself, well done, Mario. You deserve this. And that was it. That was it. I realized 321 kilometers and all my toenails fall. Actions was spreading slowly, but I went later on to proper doctor and she says to me, okay, we give you some antibiotics now, proper ones, and that's it. So that was the moment, I think. Yeah.
Mm. You talked about struggle before and recently had Jason Dunn. I don't know if you know Jason Dunn.
Why sounds familiar, the Jason Dunn?
He's an ultramarathon runner, and yeah, have you had him on your podcast?
No, I did not. No.
Well, okay, I've got to hook you up so that you can get him on your podcast. He's just written his latest book, "That Greatness Doesn't Care."
Yeah, going in August 6th, I think. Yeah. Yes.
So I just had him on the podcast like 2 episodes ago, and he talks about struggle. On one hand, you avoid struggle as much as you can, but on the other hand, you embrace it because that through that is the growth and the expansion and that comes.
Anthony, you doing this as well in your daily life. And as I say, I'm listening a lot of gurus and coaches. It's easy to talk in, with a theory. And I'm the guy who was brought in different ways. Okay, I was good portion of my life in military. And as I say, you learn the theory, they show you theory, then the people show you in practical way on training how to do it, and then you're doing under supervision till you don't master your skills. But you are as well one example, Anthony. Look at you, man. You're running the podcast. I said to people love to run podcasts, but they come and go. But you are here. It's a struggle. It's real. And how much you grow. Am I correct? That's
Yeah,
the real example.
I've been consistent since 2023, and I think tonight I'm releasing episode 228 in 2.5 years. It's like, but there have been times where I've been going through stuff in life and I've not wanted to do it, but I've gone, no, I've got to. And this title, the Champion Mindset Collective, has helped me be accountable to myself, because every time I've wanted to try and give up, it says, you are the host of the Champion Mindset Collective. You can't give up.
May I share something with you from the Camino? So I interview people on the path when I met, and 60 people I ask by letter and number 60 people, I ask why you are here. Are you here like me, find a God, or self-punishment? From 60 people, 90% of the people, and I want everybody hear me now from your audience. 90% of these people answer me simultaneously, equally same answer. I'm on intersection in my life. I don't know what to do. Now, the lowest income of those people I asked, he was a CFO, and the highest was a CEO of one of the largest financial institutions in Europe. He was working alone. His wife, she was having an affair or something. 10% of people ask why here. They are because either been going to the marriage problem, Some people are seeking, how to say, and there is Mario Bekes, who is lost as well there, But somehow I congratulate you, Anthony, because consistency and persistency are the key elements of success. Not the kumbaya, holding hands, and just a visual there. Well done, Anthony. Well done.
Thank you, Mario. I totally appreciate it. How do you distinguish between mental toughness and simply enduring pain?
Look. That's a trick question. Look, I do remember one of the trainings, 94, in November 94, we've been sent to the special training camp. And I remember there was a sort of like big sign above the entry to the army barracks, sweat saves blood. And I said, what does that mean? As I asked a question, boom, I said, oh my God. Drill instructor. I was being told for many, many, many years that pain doesn't exist. But in reality, it's actually pain does exist and you need to control the pain. However, I think that pain is reflecting totally different direction. It's not how much pain I can endure, how much my pain can actually cause problems, hurdles to you, my family, anything else. So I don't go into that willingness of the enjoying the pain. When you're in pain, you need to understand that pain, it's real, same as a fear, and you need to attend this, because if you don't attend the pain, it's going to turn into something much more nastier, either mental issues or it's going to be bad for your body. So for me, mental toughness, again, it's a related to resilience. It's how much you can be without things make your life on a daily basis. Luxuries or whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Mario, you walked 321 kilometers, is that correct?
That's correct. That's what they say. That's how much it is. I think I walk double, but
Well, in your mind, you probably thought it was double, right? There's
Yeah.
another
I
300 to
told you
go.
after 3 days, I come out, I seriously, I just want to go home. I can't laugh here.
But when you were walking alone at the Camino Primitivo, you were battling your own mind. And and you talked about the business owners. You talked about those CEO and the CEOs and stuff, and they feel a similar kind of solitude in their decisions. What did that journey teach you about your inner battlefield, and also about the courage it takes to truly walk that journey alone, and any journey in life as well, really, because we are all walking our own journeys, right?
Yes. Nobody can walk for you. I said to this, every person I met on that walk has their own story. And most of them, they have the same issue like I did. The alter ego talks, you know what I mean? You think that, something else is there. Somebody else is talking to you, but it's actually your mind telling you things you're not prepared to hear it. I truly believe that every and each of us should test their own capabilities to be alone. Nobody else can carry your pain. Nobody can carry your weight. Nobody can help you. You're going to be on intersection in your life without umbrella, raining, and nobody can hear you scream. And I think that's what's happened to me actually, political way, of course. I needed to walk alone. With fear, I can control. That I know that fear, it is real, but I can overcome with every step closer to my goal. Doesn't matter how hard it was, doesn't matter how painful it was. I knew it. If I make one more step, I'm going to come closer to my goal, to my objective, to my point where I can relax, where I can eat and, do these things. So doesn't matter how hard in life it is, just don't expect somebody else going to carry for you because nobody cares for your pain, for you. Like, in all honesty, I've just said many times in my life when I expect people going to come to me in aid, they will actually they push me over the edge. And I'm like, come on. So I learned to trust in my capabilities, my beliefs, and have a faith in my decisions. Doesn't matter how good or bad they are mine and mine alone. And I'm going to come to that point, either you're going to break it or I'm going to make it. And it was not the first time. Camino, I say again, it stripped every dignity of me, because I was crying, I was bitching, I was moaning, and then I realized nobody can hear me. Who am I talking to? And then my mind started talking to me. Relax. Take another step. Yeah, any pain. Another step, another step. Look, there's a bird. Look, there's a cloud. And then suddenly the city was there. That's it. So
Mm,
yeah, that's my take of walk alone. Yeah.
yeah. And in your journey in podcasting as well. And I see you as an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
I look up to you because
Thank you.
it's like, I don't know, how long have you been to podcasting for?
2 November. So yeah, it took me 2 years before I would start doing something properly. So
Yeah.
4 years now. It's going to be 4 years now.
Yeah. So
November.
I started a year after,
Yeah.
but like you were told that you were crazy going into podcasting. And so you to me, you are a champion who, really, you didn't listen to other people. You listened to yourself. You backed yourself. You believed in yourself and you followed your journey.
As you do, like people are very quick to judge you. So I'll give you an example. There was a gentleman who came in with me, was something happened with his ankle. I'm not sure. It's broken or something. The ambulance brought him in Albergue. He called his wife and he was on a speaker with her. She told him, "Your embarrassment, this and that." He says, "I invested in you millions, in your boobs, your ass and everything else. And that's how you treat me." So people are very quickly to judge you
Mm,
because I think that, again, I say, if it's everything above the board, legit, without causing anybody any type of pain or problems, chase your dreams. Of course, and look, if somebody told me, telling you again, that I'm going to talk Anthony Dahya from New Zealand 10 years ago, I would say like bullshit. Yeah, because when I started my business 2009, first 3 years I spent apologizing. Even before I opened my mouth, I apologized for my English. Till the one guy, Professor Clive Smallman, he told me, "What are you doing here?" He said, like, "I apologize." He said, "To whom?" I said, "To everybody." He said, "For what?" I said, like, "Because my English." And he's a he's a English, and he says to me, "Just slow down. Your accent is there. You can't change it. Try to learn." So he coached me how to talk. Podcasting is an art, and you, Anthony, brought this with your champion mindset collective on the next level. I'm saying this to myself last night. It's like, look at the man. He sent me questionnaire like properly, everything. I said like, only man who believes in his product like you. Now I'm saying this with all my honesty and from bottom of my heart. I really like what you did with the podcast. I mean, this is next level, and that's something I appreciate. You're sharing with all of us. So it's not just about me. We're learning from each other. That's what I try to say.
Yeah. Well, I've got another challenge for you, and it's gonna involve both of us, and we're gonna and together we're gonna break another world record.
Please, by all means.
Yeah?
I'm open for everything. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we got to figure out a way of being able together. How do we do something in podcasting and break the world record?
I would love to do this. Well, let's go talk about this more. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You have my yes.
How many guests can you speak to in so many hours? Yeah, I don't know. We'll work something out.
There's plenty of those records we can do online. We can do live. That's a thing nobody can break it. My record is still unbroken, and that's another one, live stream. That's something you and I can do it. Oh man, we're gonna kill it.
We can tag team,
bro. Like just like this, you and I just go talk about Camino. Hey, Anthony, you have my word. I'll do it with you. Yes.
Yeah. Now, what was a practical strategy you used to overcome that mental battle? And also, what was that specific moment for you where your mindset was your biggest enemy?
Yeah, look, after day number 5, when I said like with that lady, look, I don't know her name. I just mentioned her. She broke my heart because she saw me. She speaks Spanish. I speak English. I'm crying. She sees my feet are bleeding. And that very moment I said like, this is what I come to do this. Remember at the beginning of conversation, I told you I could lie myself and hide myself behind my war stories. I was wounded 3 times in a war. I have 14 fractures. I could always tell the stories from the past. That was my lowest point, being alone. And I was in rage actually more than anything else, because there was nobody there I could rely on, not even talk in English. So when I went in a coffee shop in my socks, the lady, she saw me, she's like, say, Peregrino, like doing Camino. That's how they call them, Peregrino. I say, yes, yes. She says to me, coffee. They don't even say cappuccino in Spain. They say something, coffee leche or something. I say, what am I? Like, just give me some coffee. I want a coffee. She says to me, the God sees everything. I said, God, I didn't want to go that path. But then I realized that was my lowest point just when I go home, because I can't even talk to somebody to explain what is going through my head. And then, Anthony, something changed. I don't know what is changed. If you don't give up on the first few seconds or minutes, something shifting you. I can't explain. I personally, I can't explain. I can't say what was happened. And I found the energy for next day. So there was no preparation. I couldn't even, everything what I know from days in special forces and days in a war, I couldn't compare, I couldn't apply. Nothing. It was different.
Now, Mario, your work involves exposing false gurus and the role of social engineering and industrial espionage in business. Makes you sound like a secret agent, James Bond at 007.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. What is the most important lesson that you've learned about human deception and vulnerability that business owners need to be aware of to protect themselves in their organizations? And especially now that we're in this age of AI as well.
Look, that's a topic we can do now, world record. So when we talk about social engineering, I want people to understand social engineering is not somebody hacking your computer or someone's going to call you on the phone. Social engineering is an art. It's basically you've been painted as a person of interest or target, and they get a profile of you, who you are, what you do, all these intimate details about you, psychologist involved, and list goes on. And then somebody approaches you. That being said, social engineering, it's happening on daily basis. It doesn't happening online. It's happening mostly in person. Doesn't matter how much you invest in cybersecurity. It doesn't matter how much you invest into protecting crypto vault or whatever you want to call them, I forgot what's it called, all this type of the protection, cybersecurity, anything else, but it's a human brain. It's a human brain. So what there's a hacking. That's how the scammers do. I mean, it's always a sense of urgency. They play on emotions. I mean, it's a risk, no risk for you. Just do it. Social engineering, it's a reality, and people stealing your ideas, your blueprints. In reality, Anthony, just look situation on airplanes. I observe the airplanes very carefully, and the people love to open laptops. They're working on the planes. They like to work on this and that. Today, the gadgets are not like in my time, last century. Today, you have the Ray-Ban glasses, Meta glasses. You record everything in front of you or around you. You go in your local shop and just giving tips. I mean, you can buy the amplifier for the hearing, or you can go online for the kids, and you can hear it. Somebody talks to you 20 meters away. So doesn't matter what you do in your life. Every blueprint, every idea starts a human brain. And that's what they're after. And that's where the passwords resides. So doesn't matter what it is in life. So like my job, it is to prevent possible espionage, to prevent our coaching companies, individuals, how to prevent the leakage of informations are part of security, cybersecurity, and list goes on. When it comes to the gurus, yeah, that's a different. I take this a little bit more personally because people will be taken advantage of, being promised, earth and heavens. You just close your eyes, do and you're gonna become rich and successful. It doesn't work that way. And people are being told things which they sound nice in theory with a big deep voice, just do it. This is what the people who are aiming on a vulnerable, most vulnerable, will not save the money on themselves to pay somebody to give them magic wand to reach the goals and objectives, which is very hard and difficult. That's what it is basically.
Yeah. What do you feel is the clearest red flag that someone might be operating without integrity?
Oh, that's a good one, actually. This is good one. Look, on the workplace, people always come back to this point and say, like, how somebody come to work for me will go to work for somebody else. You know what I mean? So you can't stop employees to be the part of your problems and solutions simultaneously. They come and goes. But where the problem starts is actually people who have the access to your most sensitive information. It goes without saying that most of corporations are failing and they have so many loopholes believing that they're untouchable and their IP is protected. When most of their work has been outsourced in third world countries and they have no access to this one. I have an example of the client who hired a company in Philippines, who hired a digital nomad in Bali, who was doing the project for the three companies, and they all have the same promotion material, and then was suing each other. And there was no integrity because the company who they hired actually couldn't care less more. So do the due diligence on the people from time to time. Do some loyalty type of testing or do the penetration testing. I mean, try to how we're using this terminology in intelligence world. It's called a pre-mortem analysis, which is basically you choose the three worst case scenarios, try to find solutions on them. And if you find solution, then it's called something called Alexander question, which it says like, okay, but what if? And if you practice this every 3-4 months with your team, it's a good playground. Then you know what direction you can go, what you can expect. But if you don't do this, integrity will not exist.
Mm,
And lead by example. Leaders should lead by example.
100%.
Look at me. That's
yeah. And talking about leaders, how can leaders create a culture where truth is valued and it's not easily manipulated?
Okay, so I go back again in the past. When you're becoming CEO, commanding officer, nobody gives you a book how to become the leader. The first thing what I got it was a black book. And I said, what is that black book? During the combat. He said, you're going to calculate possible losses, kill in action, missing in action. So like, why do you need to do this? That's your job. I said, who says my job? Well, it's your role. I didn't want that role. They said, what did you say? You don't want to be the leader? Okay, I'll be the leader. Okay. So I learned these things. You need to lead by example. Every organization needs to learn to look their leaders who lead by the example. And I know that many corporations from medium up, they C-level management doesn't even know what's happening on the front door. You're not a leader. How about you spend 10 minutes with that security guy and say, hey, John, How is your day? I'm working there as a CFO. Bro, what's your salary? What's your problems? And they're going to say, oh, that's a leadership. Today, leadership is just a good title on a LinkedIn and, sounds very well. But I guarantee you, Anthony, I know this. Leader should be available 24/7 for their team. I mean, reasonable. Should be that one who knows from bottom up everything, structure, positions, not in details, but should know that these things. That's a military system. You build them from ground up. You don't just give them even officer. Oh, I want to have the 5,000 soldiers. It doesn't work, bro, that way. You get first 12 or 10, and then you build up. So lead by example. If you don't lead by example, you're not a leader. Keep that title for yourself.
Yeah. There's a difference between managers and leaders are visionary. They're the ones that empower people and they help unblock things and they help their people. I feel that the organizational chart needs to be turned around where
Yes.
the leaders are lifting people up
Yes.
and supporting the people that are actually doing the work, because the most valuable people are the people that help you as a business owner succeed. I was just having this conversation today with another interview where we were talking about entrepreneurs who are solo entrepreneurs doing everything themselves. When you hire someone else to do the work for you, you're allowing yourself to then grow and you're allowing other people to lead the way as well. So I agree with you there.
Leadership is a complex thing. I mean, it's like, don't call yourself leader if you're not prepared to lead, because everyone loves to take it, the glory
Title.
of the battlefield. Exactly.
Mm,
But it takes a lot of things, you know what I mean?
it's a privilege. Yeah, it's a privilege. Yeah, a leader is not something that you just take for granted. It's a very important role. Now, with everything you've experienced, which is a lot, right? From the front lines of war to the quiet solitude of Camino, like you said, it shaped you into another version of yourself. What is one core piece of wisdom you'd want to impart to someone who feels like they are facing an impossible challenge right now and who feels completely alone and perhaps they're losing their hope?
Look, I've been there. I need to divide this answer on two parts. First of all, don't be Mario Bekes. When I was in 2009, when my son was diagnosed with epilepsy, I think that my world sunk. I mean, it was GFC. Things happened to bad to my family, my marriage, and things was going from bad to worse. But why it's happened, I didn't want to look up. I was looking down. So I take the shovel and dig it deeper into the abyss of the dirt, of the problems, and I blame everybody. When I stop doing this, sorry, and I start looking myself in the mirror, and I said to myself, you come here in this position because of your decisions. Now try to find the solutions. No solution is this going to help you overnight. You know this, Anthony. But what you need to do is don't be afraid to walk alone. Doesn't matter how dark it is. In every dark, it's something light. Always, or something light, it's always some dark. You're not alone on that path. Because what I realized on Camino that I wasn't alone facing challenges, obstacles, trials and tribulations. But when I finished it, I realized it was worth it, because today I think I become not different man, but much more uh, happy and realistic with my expectations in life. Every challenge or obstacles will build your resilience and your mental toughness up, not down. Don't let be person as I was in 2009, 2010, make yourself worthless, useless, and blaming everybody. Face yourself, embrace the opportunity, and say to yourself, it is a challenge I need to overcome. There is always a solution. That's what I'm going to say. Don't be afraid to
Mm,
walk alone.
yeah, absolutely. You came alone to this earth. You're going alone, so it's a path that you just got to follow.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you find your own internal compass when external pressures are overwhelming for you?
Believe it or not, again, I'm going to refer this to Camino because I can't believe it. There was only one path, Anthony. And now I start walking and see the yellow arrows, yellow scallop shells. And I'm walking. It's like, it's interesting. And this for last hour, not the yellow arrow, not the scallop shells. So myself, I just continued walking. I didn't pay attention because I was presuming that this is the path. So I said to myself, okay, GPS doesn't work. Map doesn't work because it's a mountain. I have two solutions to think, where did I go wrong? And I need to go back to see the first arrow. It took me another hour. I was walking back to see that arrow, and I realized that there was a beautiful that pond where I was doing happily, whistling, and I mean, just passed into fog. I said, okay, so I should turn right there. So, okay, stop and check. From time to time, check where you are, where you want to be, what do you require to reach your goals, your objectives, your desires, your dreams. Don't just walk. Don't just follow the herd, and don't just, be, as you say, without compass. So for me, I think the Camino was for the reason. Same in life, in business, you can't just chase something far away and don't see nothing around you. Stop, breathe, observe, see where you are. That's how I realize. So yes, I was lost over there. I need to recalibrate my thinking again.
Yeah. The interesting thing that's been coming up recently for me on conversations that I've had on podcasts as well, and on trainings that I've been on and so on, is it's like I'm part of an accelerator with Daniel Priestley's organization Dent, and the common theme that keeps coming up is direction over distance. So we often think that it's about the distance, but it's about, am I going in the right direction?
See, that's what the people forget. We always think that we're going because somebody told us what to do. That's the right way. Again, I take a Camino because Caminos for me was really experience in my life. So like we plan to go normal way, Sydney, Doha, Doha, Madrid, 20 hours. Well, somebody else decide to change the world. Don't spin that side, spin that side. I never envisaged I'm going to travel to Canada. It's going to take me 45 hours instead of 20 hours. You're absolutely right. Sometimes we don't need to chase the distance. I need the direction because on chasing distance, in that distance, somebody can change setup and you can be very, very easily lost.
Well, exactly, because, we don't, like you talked about goals or you want outcomes in your life. You don't know how long it's going to take, right? But if you know the direction you're going in, then you know you're going to eventually get there if you be consistent and if you build up the resilience to keep going. And as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, you don't become successful overnight.
No.
No.
But what is success here? Again, I said, this guy was, I can't name the company because it's going to be recognized. He's from England. And he's such a high position man, powerful man. And he was telling me how he's lost. And I said to him, bro, I can't even feel my feet here. Are you serious? He says to me, no money can help me here. Maybe God sent me to him to talk. And I said to him, we talked for 20 kilometers. It was like a 6-7 hours conversation, which is very good. So I think that you, Anthony, what I try to say, I believe that your podcast, Champion Mindset Collective, it is to check all of us where direction we're going, not distance, but direction, because you created 228 episodes of so much wisdom. And when people think, I know, I don't want to name the name of the podcast, but something with CEO. CEO's talking.
Sorry, of the CEO?
Yeah,
Yeah.
The CEO's talking like, bro, you're the employee with a good salary. What do you know what I need in my life? Good luck to you. But will I listen your podcast and your guest? Yes.
Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting because this journey started off with maybe one or two guests. In the last year and a half, I've not had to go looking for guests. They come directly to me, and you wouldn't believe it. And you're going to see this shortly after this podcast has ended. But I've got 72 guests in my pipeline.
That's amazing, man.
There, 72 guests that are in my pipeline, at different stages of my pipeline. And I've probably got something like 20 something recorded already waiting to be edited and published. I don't think about the goal ahead. I just focus on today and I just focus on having these conversations. One thing I'll share is that when I was at school, I didn't pass anything. I tried twice and I failed miserably. Started working at the age of 16. I didn't go to university. So this is my university. I've created my own university because every conversation I have with you, Mario, is inspiring me, is
Thank you.
building something within me. So
I admire, I say I admire you because it's not just being like-minded people. Really genuinely believe, and it's hard to me admit this because as I said at the beginning of our conversation, my father will wake up in the morning 4 o'clock. First of all, he do lit cigarettes, so we live in one bedroom unit. Can you imagine this? Then my mom, she wake up as well. They have their coffee. Then he goes in a bathroom to listen to the Voice of America, and then he will come back, and then he will start with all this list of I hate Anthony, I hate Mario, I hate him. She's a slut. I'm like, and then you live in that life, and you say like, why he hates everybody? Like, because they have something. But I'll say this honestly. There is enough space, there's enough opportunities for everybody to reach their goals and dreams. And I cannot emphasize enough, I'm so proud to see you, how far away you come. And now when I saw in that studio, I said to myself, this is my friend Anthony. Look at him, man. Man, I don't want to use some other language. Bro, love it, this. You know what I mean? I'm really proud of you.
But you've played a part in this because you've inspired me as well.
Thank you. Thank you. But
Yeah.
it's like you gonna say like, I truly believe, I don't do prophecies, but I believe that there is a reason why it's Champion Mindset Collective. People will, you are like a repository of the knowledge and wealth. You see, I'm gonna say his name, Jay Shetty. The guy doesn't know he's a monk, wannabe monk. He was a monk. He can't remember who he stole the. I remember that article in Guardian 2 years ago come out, and the guy was stripping naked down, and Jay Shetty, of course, he didn't know what to answer the question except, yes, I steal somebody else's quotes. Okay, fine. But do you understand what for you it is? You're fighting you every day, like me. And that's a real life it is. Nobody gives us nothing. We fight for this. And that's the fruit I enjoy.
Yeah. Do you know the podcast is just the front door? It's if you think about the shop door, this is the front window.
Yeah.
But what I'm building is bigger than a podcast. It's a movement.
I like it.
It's a movement. And the foundation of this podcast is be the change in the world that you want to see.
Oh, I like it.
And I can change my world, and Mario, you can change your world. But together as a collective, we can change the whole world together.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. What I mentioned about breaking the world record, I had that thought.
Yes, tell me.
2 years ago.
Okay.
I've been holding on to it because I was waiting for the right moment to share it with you and say, we're going to break this world record.
Well, I have to do is, you see, but, when I just first, I said to my son, like, I do this. I was like, I'm the king, and he said king. So like, it's not everybody has a daddy Guinness World Record holder, and he's like, he tries to be smart, but I know he says to me sometimes, he said, Dad, I'm proud of you because it's true. You know what I mean? Like, and on that part, I now met you, and it's like seriously, it will be a privilege for me that you and I do something like this because New Zealand deserves a hero, unsung hero. That's you.
Thank you. And I'm also very grateful for Daniel Tolson and also Steve Tolan for introducing me to you. So, so I'm really grateful, and I'm looking forward to when you come to New Zealand and we get to go out for lunch and spend some time together.
I come in Auckland because I really want to. I never been in New Zealand. I say like, and I really want to see you in person. I really want to say Anthony Dahya. Did they say properly Dahya?
Dahya, yeah, you said it right. Yeah,
Dahya. I just want to say, Anthony, it's me, Mario. So I get the picture and I can talk to you. And that's going to happen by end of the month because in August I'm doing something new, some new challenge. So yeah, we'll see.
Nice. Now, I've got one last question before we go into
Please.
the quick fire. So when you went to Australia, how old were you? And what was it like for you coming from a different background and then, becoming an Australian?
Okay, so for me, Australia wasn't choice. It was given to me. So like I was in military, as you know, and then '96 I was being approached by the certain elements in the from Foreign Affairs. So I was in military. Then the people from Department of Foreign Affairs approached me and they told me they have a good job for me. I was being very, very quiet 2 years, going through all these processes of the checks and balances and trainings, everything else. 98, I was being discharged from military officially, not. And I was transferred to Department of Foreign Affairs. And in November, same year, after 6 months of training, I was being sent to Australia. So for me, Australia wasn't choice. It was being this is 747-400 middle seat amongst the big people, and Bob's your uncle. Coming to Australia, that's it.
And how's that journey been for you?
Look, first was okay, but then when I decided to stay in Australia, as you know, I got a kid, I was married, I started building myself from not such a beautiful position. I was a bouncer, cleaner, all these things. And my finger was going in every direction. I blame everybody for living, 007 lifestyle for being in Australia. So for me, it was a hard time to accept that I need to learn and build myself, everything else. So
Mm. And tell us a little bit about the boxing that you're doing and also the volunteering that you do at Ronald McDonald House.
yeah, so like the boxing is always was my love. I couldn't be the soccer player because I was always overweight. Boxing was a part of my, protecting Mario, I was being bullied, these things. And when boxing clubs was usually rough and tough guys, strong guys. So I enjoyed the boxing, but then war come and I need to put this on the side, become a little bit older, start smoking, start drinking, being typical professional soldier. And then when my son was diagnosed with epilepsy 2009, I decided to go back. I say, if you fight epilepsy, I fight with you. And I said, okay, I can be Rocky Balboa again, 4 years old. So since then, I started train regularly and fight. Sorry, okay, let me understand. Professionals, amateurs, co-pro fighters, everybody else, and Mario Bekes. But that's what senior citizen club, 50 plus. You know what I mean? So it's okay. So I'm enjoying going to Pan Pacific Games, Master Games, all these things. I'm not winning, to be honest with you. I'm not winning. I don't know why. Kind of win, you know what I mean? Like, I just, doesn't matter what I do. My coach says to me, I told you, and I said,
All that matters is that and here that you're winning, right? It doesn't matter what happens externally.
now, yes, but if it's 10 years before, I'll be a bit
Yeah.
upset. So, like, look, I won 1 from 4 fights. Everything else I lost. 1 was draw. But I'm enjoying because it keeps me alive, Anthony. Keeps me alive and keeps me check. Like every morning, going gym 4 o'clock in the morning. It's part of discipline, part of routine. And I know if I do these things, I know I'm gonna be very well. Same goes Ronald McDonald House. You ask me. That's the way to give back because I do remember a time when my son was in West Ventura Hospital, had epilepsy. Doesn't have anymore because he has a big surgery a few years ago. So he was one of the lucky ones. And I'm now in position in my life where I can take a little bit lighter from my work duties and I can give back something I truly believe that these people deserve. So that's the one.
Yeah. And I really value that. And so, that's really inspiring.
Appreciate.
And also I enjoy your videos of the gym. And I also enjoy your Facebook reels and things where you're sipping the coffee and walking on the beach and everything. So
As I said, like, you asked this question, as I said, I love your podcast. If I was contemplating this 15 years ago when I started my business inside intelligence, it was like a science fiction, right? Somehow life gives you all of these tests and trials and tribulations. Today I can afford myself coffee. and I can afford myself, a little bit more extra, some food, I mean, nice food. So that's, I'm grateful for that. So like, of course, I'm gonna share
Yeah.
those things.
Do you know how this podcast came about?
Ah,
So I was
of-
working in a local government organization, and I
okay.
was part of a leadership team in the data analytics space. And part of the team was a bit toxic, and the people were coming up to me and saying, "We're feeling unsafe. Can you help us?" So I stood up in front of my team and I challenged them. And I knew I was leaving because I was being made redundant. But what I did is I started this little group called the Champion Mindset Group, and I started to build this support network for these people. And I started teaching them about Muhammad Ali and Arnold Schwarzenegger and how these people became champions in their lives. Long story short, left the organization, did coaching for 6 months, and then I came across podcasting and I went, this is what I want to do. And as I mentioned before, the collective is because we can change the world together, right?
I
So,
agree with you. Like, you see, that's the courage. You see,
mm,
there's the people who talk, and I say, I love this TikTok. Everybody's the expert. And when I ask them, how do you know? They say, what do you mean? How do you know? Please explain to elaborate me because you're some LP guru. I say, I don't understand the question. You to no,
yeah.
that's the way. Say what I like it about you. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
it was
these stories we share about the hardship, the adversity, the challenges we've gone through, they're the ones that actually, these stories are the ones that touch people, not on a on a TikTok reel or something like that.
that's what you enter. I want you to remember because I tested this. I tested this while I was traveling. You never know who is listening to your podcast, and I'm telling you right now. I was with my son traveling in Europe, and 2 years ago, yeah, 2 years ago. And I said to him, Matteo, let me spy around what the people doing. And he helped me. He said, Daddy, they're Googling, they're searching for things, anything else. Now think yourself, how many people is going to listen your 228 episodes when discover some truckie from Melbourne to Sydney or whatever, Auckland to Wellington? Well, I'm just figure of speech, right? So people listening things, they don't need to send you the love letter, say Anthony, blah, blah. They just listen.
Listen, yeah, absolutely. And if it's changing their life, then that's
That's
all
what
it's
matters.
about.
That's what
Yeah.
matters.
Now, Mario, before we go into the quick fire questions, which are
Yeah.
tell us about your intelligence business and also your podcast, and how do people come and work with you? How do people come on your podcast? What have you got on offer? Yeah,
Okay. So when it comes to my business inside intelligence group, we provide a corporate investigative solutions, which is basically, insurance claims, banks, financial institutions, the fraud, the theft, all these things, surveillances, background checks, due diligence, but cyber security. That's where we are. My company, it's working. It's a worldwide, but most of our work it is Australia wide, which is my home, and that's where I love to be more involved because you know, far from eyes is far from heart. You can't control things, and I'm not young anymore to travel all these, destinations and pretend like everything is good there because I'm elderly man who loves to be closer to home now. So inside intelligence is based around the three F's, the fear, fight, fight, fear, fight, and freedom. Fight is fear. It's where people are being damaged somehow. They feel they're being taken advantage of. They come to us. I mean, it's a monetary fraud, a crime. Fight it is that we investigating those things. Freedom is that people can do their work while we're doing the work for them, investigative wrongdoings, paying reports for police or for courts, and the list goes on. When it comes to my podcast, Life the Battlefield emerged as well as a response and a little bit ego is my head. I want to promote one of my things, and nobody wanted me basically because I was being told, from language to, you're too bold, you're too sexy, you're too this, too that. So nobody wanted me. But again, come back to the man who I'm very, very grateful. His name is Professor Clive Smallman and Professor Dr. Troy Whitford. They both sent me university to do my master's, which I was refusing, start writing books and start podcast somewhere. So I started podcast because I want to share my side of the story. However, On that part, I realized that I have so much to offer from my knowledge of investigative intelligence work, which regularly given in some cases from the past or currently. So I'm not naming and shaming people because that everybody can do it. I'd rather spend time and tell the people how some crime is committed, how some fraud is committed, how the scammers acting. Now in Italy, when I was in Italy, I was showing the real example how the scammers work in Rome, how they take money of you, advantage, everything else. So that's the one part. And secondly, it is to prove, like let's just say to conversations like yourself, to give people a fighting chance, that they know that there are the people like them who going through ordeal in life. So when they come on my podcast is self-explanatory. Life the battlefield. I love people who have the stories who are gonna inspire others. You know what I mean? So stories gonna equip others that much that they can go and fight their own battles, knowing that there was somebody before them, master the techniques and share solutions with them. So yeah, welcome to Life the Battlefield. Hello, all of you risk takers and truth seekers, and welcome to Champion Mindset Collective.
Nice. And we're going to be breaking the Life of the Battlefield and Champion Mindset Collective are going to be breaking the world record together.
Absolutely. And you have my word, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Are you ready, Mario?
Sure.
We have 6 quick-fire questions, and you can answer these in a short sentence or a single word. And the first question for you is, how do you define success, and has that definition evolved for you over time?
Success is being equal happiness. How happy you are. That's what it is. Basically, that's it. Are you happy, yes or no? Success.
Who's been your greatest inspiration and why?
My grandfather, Marto, he was like a father to me. He loved me despite all my problems. And, he truly gave me something I never had. And that is direction, a sense of belonging to somebody.
What is something that you believe that others may disagree with?
That the pain is real, you know what I mean? And that you should not enjoy the pain, that you should be painless, but that's me. So that's something people just agree.
If you could go back and give young Mario some advice, what would it be?
Just do it. Just go to the same path. Don't be afraid what is ahead of you. It's life. That I'll give myself here. Don't be afraid. Go.
What is one message that you'd like to share with the world?
Actually, I have 2 messages. Number one, please give the support to my friend Anthony and Champion Mindset Collective podcast. And secondly, don't be afraid, walk alone.
And what does it mean to you to be a champion and have a champion mindset?
That means that I can pass on next generation all my experiences so somebody else can be better equipped and have the fighting chance in life.
Love it. Mario, this has been an amazing conversation full of incredible depth and honesty. What has stood out for me is that your emphasis on lived experience and the truth that comes from walking your own path, even when it's incredibly difficult. Thank you for sharing your journey and giving us a new perspective on resilience and leadership. To our listeners, if you're watching this, you can find all the links in the show notes, and also there'll be a dedicated page on the Champion Mindset Collective website for Mario's episode. You can find all the videos, the article, the guide. There'll be a 3-page guide which condenses everything down into practical guide that people can download and start to apply in their life based on what we've discussed here today. And if you found this conversation meaningful, then please subscribe. It's interesting how many people don't subscribe. 94% of people that listen to this podcast on YouTube have not subscribed. So help us by getting this out there to the world. And share it with someone that needs to hear this as well. If you're navigating redundancy, rejection, career change, major life transition, the Champion Reset is dedicated to help you rebuild your confidence, clarity, and direction. And you can find this by going to the Champion Mindset Collective Academy #waitlist and join the Academy, and you can see me on the other side. And lastly, I just want to say you are loved, you are worthy, champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.